Do we have some questions?
Yes.
Mike Grantham, you were the first one to raise
Tony, knowing how this whole thing has worked so far, I can see a situation where a so-called indemnity partner is conjured up. They take over the site, ostensibly to run it for aviation. They give it a couple of years, and they say, "Ah, well, that didn't work. Let's put houses on it."
Well, remember the answer to that, though, is Thanet doesn't own anything. Thanet would need a compulsory purchase order. So that indemnity partner would have had to have made its case to a public inquiry and won that public inquiry and got an approval from the Secretary of State.
But unless the present owners decide to sell to them directly, because maybe there is a connection between, a hidden connection maybe between a new partner and the existing owner.
I don't want to say too much about that, except that there are provisions in the Act and the regulations to cover against that possibility. In other words, an attempt to subvert the process. I don't want to sound complacent, because there are, but basically the system is what it is. 70 of these DCOs have already been enacted, and many of them have faced this kind of thing.
Messenger?
Yeah, hi. Is it possible that a CPO can run in tandem with a DCO?
No.
So all of the TDC admin and the political force behind that, and what their rhetoric is at the moment, is largely academic, because the DCO now has already been inaugurated.
I read the letter from our lawyers, and the last paragraph in which they said we'd be very happy to come and explain how this works. Now, okay, we can laugh, but in fairness, the reality is development consent orders are a fairly new process. They relate to major infrastructure projects. The nearest one is there's one in North Kent for the Paramount. That's the nearest one to here. So no one down here has any experience of them at all. And I think what we're trying to say diplomatically is, before you press on with this, please listen to our lawyers, because they've more experience in this than anyone else, and they would be certainly willing to take them through the process.
So there could be some more egg on their face. Even more.
More of our money's going down the pan.
Tony, this is more of to ask you to do something than a question. I sit on 3 local committees, and whenever the airport comes up, the so-called experts put the airport down. At Budgington Parish Council, our chairman did actually say, "Oh, that's dead in the water." And that's the kind of feedback. It's come. The area committee. There's somebody knows everything that's coming out of River Oak. He doesn't. But he also said it's dead in. Could I suggest that you if River Oak could write to all the town and parish councils, just to reassure them, so that they've got something positive that they can give out?
Okay. I dealt with the public consultation, because that's actually, it's actually very important. The public consultation will include individual consultations with parish councils, but that probably won't happen until later this year. What I need to consider is whether in the interim there's a case for actually writing to the clerk or the appropriate officer of every parish council, town council, to say this is what's happening. It's a bit.
Please. I think I really think that would help.
Okay, all right, certainly we'll do that.
Brilliant. Right, I can't see any more hands, are there? Right.
The proposed mast in Pegwell, how will that affect, or will it affect, or does it affect
I don't know. We think that the right people to comment on that are the Civil Aviation Authority, and we are taking steps this week to do just that. Because it's not just Manston, potentially it could affect all the other London airports.
Just in relation to that last point, where that mast is going to be located is right on the edge of Dover's jurisdiction. And actually, it's a moot point about whether it sits in Thanet or it sits in Dover. I think the people of Thanet really have to voice their, because if you don't know, this thing is going to be 1,000 feet high. That's 3 times higher than the water cooling towers that were there. Notwithstanding the negative effect on aviation, it's going to dominate the skyline around here. So I'm not in any way being NIMBYist, but I do think if it's got any adverse effect on the airport, we need to challenge it. And the people of Thanet need to be very, very involved in that process, because it's right on the edge of your patch, but it falls into Dover's jurisdiction for planning consent.
Other people can comment
At the
too.
moment, till they move it 50 feet, and then it'll be Ramsgate.
Well, if it blows over, it will be in there.
Right, other questions?
Is there anyone at the back who has a question at all? No?
Okay, guys. Thank you very much, Tony.
Okay.